tonight we have an exciting program for you. We will have Susan Leung, who flew in from Boston to talk to us about IIC, give us an overview, the application process, and then we have Dr. Charleston Sin, who is the Executive Director at the Hong Kong MIT Innovation Node, and he'll talk about the developments at the node. And then finally, we have Timothy Leung. He is the Executive Director of the Hong Kong AI Lab, and I'll be engaging with him on a fireside chat on the future of work. So very exciting. And at the very end, we definitely have a Q&A session for you on IIC and on the node. So feel free to ask questions, okay? Now, so before we get started with the program, I just have to thank two organizations. So one, definitely to the MIT Club of Hong Kong, okay? Thank you for your support. I want to say thank you to Lillian and to David. Thank you. And also, definitely to the MIT Hong Kong Innovation Node, and especially Alice. I don't see her, but she's running around doing the logistics. Okay, great. So thank you. So without further ado, let me invite Ms. Susan Leung on stage. Okay, let's see if this works. Great. Susan Leung, the MIT IIC Producer. I'm going to do a brief intro of Susan, okay? Susan manages the partnerships with collaborators and local teams responsible for implementing IIC at a regional level across the globe. Susan is also the Assistant Director at the MIT Initiative on the Digital Economy, where she manages the Analytics Lab Action Learning course, develops special projects and new activities, and supports strategic development of the initiative. So Susan flew in from Boston, and this is also her first time in Hong Kong, so let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. All right, can you all hear me? Okay? All right. So welcome to this final push celebration. We call it the final push because May 9th is our registration deadline, so I'll tell you what all of that means in this presentation, hopefully to do a couple of things for entrepreneurs to spark their interest to apply if they're engaged in work that we're looking to recognize. For judges, if they hear that a message tonight that resonates with them and they want to get involved in reviewing the applications we receive, judging the applications. And then other groups, if they're interested in just spreading the word about what we're up to, helping us with outreach would be tremendous. So we'll see how many of those we can accomplish tonight. To get started, what I'll do is play a short video that speaks to our mission, why we started the Inclusive Innovation Challenge, and the problems that we see in the future of work if we don't take action today.
Once a century, if that, there's a wave of technology that is profound enough to change economies, change the pace of economic growth, change societies, and change the way companies operate, change the way we all live our lives.
The first machine age allowed machines to take over a lot of the work of human muscles. Now, in the second machine age, machines are beginning to automate and augment the human mind.
As technology races ahead, it can leave some people behind. The tone of the conversation around technology and around tech progress is sharply negative. People are worried, they are fearful in a lot of cases.
There is growing unease about what the future looks like. People feel that technology is starting to run away with itself and humans are being left behind.
And therefore tech progress is maybe even net negative. Maybe it's a bad thing to have. I just think that's wrong.
Technology has always been destroying jobs, but it's also always been creating jobs. It's not what technology does to us, it's what we do with technology.
Let's not bury the lead here. The lead is that our world and the state of humanity and the state of the natural world is improving overall very, very quickly because of tech progress. We wanted to highlight with the IIC the fact that innovators and entrepreneurs are doing things with these new technologies that are kind of the opposite of automating people out of existence, making their financial lives more precarious, and de-skilling and taking their jobs away.
In 2018, the IIC has gone from one large challenge to a truly global tournament. What we've done is we have hosted challenges in all 5 regions of the world.
The Inclusive Innovation Challenge builds upon MIT's convening power to go into regions and meet the people who are actually doing the innovation in their own region and accelerate the impact of these organizations that are engaged in this grand challenge of our time.
I'm very optimistic about the future of work, not only in Europe, where my company is based, but also internationally, because I believe technology is the drive in order to make society and, in general, work more inclusive.
I'm very hopeful, and it's not just India. I think that there is a demographic that is transcending barriers. The younger generation has a shared experience around the world that's happened in the upheavals of the last 10 years. And what they want is an opportunity for inclusion, they want access.
O futuro ele passa pela tecnologia, pela inserção e pela inclusão, principalmente daquelas populações de base de pirâmide, como é o caso da agricultura familiar no Brasil e no mundo.
I don't think I've seen anywhere where there is as much entrepreneurship and innovation as in Africa, and particularly East Africa. Kenya is such a booming, exciting economy, such a young population. There's some really exciting stuff coming out of the environment.
I'm really excited about the future of work because I'm seeing a lot of changes in the tools that are available, and these new tools really lower the barrier of entry to anyone who wants to build a technology company, but they really make tech a lot more inclusive.
It's amazing what's happening all over the globe, in Latin America, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa. We all need to be hopeful about the future of work because there's some big challenges ahead of us, and we've got more powerful tools than we've ever had before. There's no shortage of work to be done. There's no shortage of jobs.
So we launched the Inclusive Innovation Challenge certainly to support these organizations financially, but more importantly, it's to draw attention to the incredible work that they're doing. Because really we're seeing that there are solutions that are working today to reinvent the future of work. And those organizations, and in particular those entrepreneurs, need to be recognized and celebrated because we need more people just like them.
The next decade could be the best decade in human history if we harness technology for the many, not just the few. We can decide what the future of work looks like.
But the real point here is using technology for the many and not just the few. We really focus on innovation-driven entrepreneurship and the use of technology to increase shared prosperity. So it's technology that grows the pie and makes sure that people are able to enjoy the benefits of that tech progress. So far, we have engaged with a lot of people to get to this point. We've given out $3.5 million in prizes to organizations from around the world. We've recognized 100 winners from all 5 IIC regions. To do that, we've engaged a lot of groups through the registration process and through the outreach process to really grow this pipeline. We, in the very early days, couldn't find any group that was doing what we were doing to recognize not just entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs using technology for shared prosperity and for inclusion. So we convene lots of events like this one and other ones, which I hope to see many of you at. And we've also engaged with a lot of judges to evaluate the applications we receive. So this is just kind of our impact numbers to date. To do what we do, we engage with regional collaborators in 5 regions. And here you can see who we're working with this year. In Africa, it's Liquid Telecom. In Asia, it's the MIT Innovation Node here in Hong Kong. In Europe, we're working with Merck. In Latin America, we're working with the MIT Club of Mexico. They're a group of alums. And in the US and Canada, we're working with a group called Mars Discovery District. Each of our regional collaborators work with us on a couple of different dimensions. They operationalize each of our regional challenges. They coordinate and host the regional events. And they also either provide or help us source funding to make the challenges possible. all of this leads to one global convening at MIT. So out of the work that Flora is doing in Asia and our other regional teams are doing in our other regions, we'll wind up with 20 regional winners who fly to MIT to participate in a campus-wide Future of Work Congress and a series of workshops with mentors on the ground so that they're able not just to potentially win part of the $1 million in prizes, but to, across the board, really benefit from their affiliation with MIT and the kinds of networks we can connect them with as a result. So who are our winners? Why are we doing all of this? We organize ourselves according to 4 different categories, but regardless of category, the kinds of organizations we're looking for are for-profit or nonprofit. They're early in growth stage, so they have some kind of ability to demonstrate their impact and traction to date, and they show that they are already in the implementation phase and could really benefit from the exposure that MIT is giving them and the prize money and the network in general. So our 4 categories, I'll explain kind of in theory what they are and then actually in practice what we've seen so far. So in skills development and opportunity matching, it's looking at ways that organizations are examining the future of work and seeing what skills are needed for the jobs of the future, and then skilling people to be able to participate in those jobs, as well as match them with the opportunities. So there's a real supply and demand mismatch that we're seeing in a lot of ways, and many of our organizations are trying to kind of solve that. Income growth and job creation, how do we create more and better jobs? How do we create new jobs, brand new industries, or how do we reimagine struggling industries? And technology access is focused on extending technology and basic internet access to people who are otherwise kind of digitally disconnected. We've seen a lot of interesting examples from across the globe. It's not just a developing world problem. It's from everywhere from, Africa, where you may think of it, to places in the United States. And it's really exciting to be able to bring the winners together who are all focused on the same thing, but in different contexts to see what they can learn from one another. And then finally, financial inclusion. So that's how do we increase people's ability to participate in the digital economy and have access to financial services where otherwise they wouldn't have them. So a few examples of what this means in practice. So I pulled a few examples. As I mentioned, we have 100 winners, so I can chat with you more in the Q&A about them or offline. But I pulled a few with some AI applications because I thought this audience might be particularly interested in that. So all the way over in Latin America, in Mexico City, we have Apply, and they're the income growth and job creation category. And what they've developed is an AI-fueled marketplace that connects people with jobs, not in weeks or months, which is how we kind of see hiring happen, but in a matter of hours. So you can imagine this is very attractive to companies that are looking to find people to do work, but more importantly, it's enabling people to grow their incomes and not be waiting to find a job, but be matched with one pretty much right away. And then in India, we have iMerit, and they are focused in the skills development and opportunity matching category. They take people who have very little background in coding, in data, maybe don't even really use computers that much, and connect them with the skills that they need through hiring them and bringing them aboard so that they can contribute to products and services and projects that big-time companies are really needing to be solved. So it kind of puts these people that they've hired on a pathway to better skills and rewarding work, especially when we think about jobs of the future. A lot of them are going to be involving data, and this is putting those people on that pipeline. And then for technology access, ARED is a very interesting case if you haven't heard of them. They're kind of like an all-in-one business-in-a-box solar kiosk because it's also looking at digital payments, Wi-Fi connectivity, tax preparation, and other types of services, all kind of out of one solar kiosk. It also has an interesting side benefit of being a franchise model, so the people who own the kiosk are earning incomes. Very interesting. And then finally, I thought I would talk about credit ease and financial inclusion. They're based in China, and they're looking at rural farmers or other types of people who are not really digitally enabled, but who need credit. And they extend credit to those folks so that they're able to grow their businesses that they have currently or really develop and expand based on what they'd like to do without the credit. They just wouldn't be able to. In March, we opened up our registration and applications. This coming month in May 9th is when we close registration. A few weeks after that, applications will close. Then in June and July, we firmly focus on the judging part of this. So recruiting judges and then making sure that they have what they need to do their work, which happens completely online. Based on the evaluation scores comments that the judges submit to us, we end up with a short list of regional finalists. Then follows these regional events that I mentioned before, August through October, where regional prizes will be given, so 120,000 US dollars per region. Then after, as a result of this event in each region, we end up with that even shorter list of 20 organizations that are regional winners. And those 20 organizations vie for the chance to win $1 million based on yet another round of judging, which is our champion committee. So, we're kind of still early in the process, which is why it's great that I have the privilege of being able to speak with you, because I'm thinking that there's lots of different ways we can work together to get through to November. These are some of our global supporters, which make our work possible. And part of what we do is not just give away prizes, but really drive visibility and excitement to shine a light on the solutions that are really working today. And so these are some press opportunities that we've had the benefit of receiving. And then finally, this is probably the most important slide that I'll show tonight, and I hope we can all take it to heart, opportunities to engage. So there's this registration deadline that I mentioned, May 9th. So if you yourself are interested in registering, please do. You have a couple of weeks after that to decide if you want to file an application, but just make sure your hat is in the ring, or tell people that their hat should be in the ring by nominating an organization. So let us know. We're happy to outreach on your behalf. Or if you'd like to outreach to them, we can supply you with information to be able to do so. And then finally, there's judging, reviewing the applications we receive. It's about a 3-hour time commitment, and I can describe more if there's some interested judges out there. But it's pretty fun, low risk, but a way to meet new people through their applications and learn about some really novel solutions. And then finally, supporting and sponsoring our work, which we have to continue to build to make this possible on regional and then global level. These are our social channels, my contact information, and Flora's. There's lots of ways to find us and keep up with us. And thank you. I'll turn it back over to Flora.
Great. Thank you, Susan. Next, let's invite Dr. Charleston Sin. As Executive Director of MIT Hong Kong Innovation Node, Charleston leads the effort to organize, champion, and advocate for innovation between Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area. Charleston is a 25-year veteran of the information technology and telecommunications industry. Prior to joining to MIT, Charleston held executive positions at VMware, Cisco, and Nortel. Stage is yours, Charleston.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you. So I'm officially quarter century cow. I actually worked for 25 years. That's a long time. Okay, good. So I'm very excited to share the note and the information with you today. So one thing that probably you wonder whether we are really the MIT. Are you really sitting on the MIT chair in Cambridge? So you're not sitting in the MIT chair in Cambridge, but you're actually sitting in the MIT chair in Hong Kong. So we are genuine MIT location. So I was told that other than Cambridge in Massachusetts, this is the only place that actually carry a real MIT name. So therefore, it's a real privilege for them. But today, I'm going to talk about some MIT secret. So in case that you have not experienced MIT before. Now, everyone probably know that MIT is one of the best university around the world. So this is 2019 ranking. MIT is ranked #1 around the world. So the real ranking, it really doesn't matter, but it's that the world is actually recognizing MIT for the academics, for the possibility. But there's actually another ranking that came out last year talking about the MIT in terms of innovation. So we are hand in hand with Stanford as expected. So at this point, I think I should disclose that I work for VMware and Cisco for 21 years. Both of them came from Stanford. So, but I'm going to repent my guilt, and by telling you a secret about MIT. The real secret of MIT is not because of academic, it's because of this. Manners. So everyone go to MIT. If you, in case where this nice picture taking is actually on the right hand side. So it really means that it's a Latin for mind and hand. Mind and hand. So this is the real secret of MIT, because at MIT stress so much not only on the academic excellence but also on how to apply it. As a result, MIT, this is a study done by MIT around the year of 2014, 2015. They studied that, and as of that year, MIT actually from the beginning of time has created about 30,000 startup company. Of it, employ 4.6 million employee, and the total revenue of these 30,000 companies is $1.9 trillion, and it's the 10th economy around the world. Not only that, 40% of those founder of those companies are the serial founder. So in other words, that they do 3 or more. Of it, 23% is actually outside United States. It's actually from around the world. So therefore, one of the real thing about MIT is that we very emphasizing on entrepreneurship. We are really emphasizing on applying the knowledge that you have. Now, and to do that, MIT actually have something called the Martin Trust Center for MIT Entrepreneurship. And this is the book, Discipline and Entrepreneurship book. We use this as the tool set, as我哋嘅內功, is our inner energy, so that we can apply the 24 steps of discipline and entrepreneurship. I worked 25 years in the industry. I worked in sales and products. I have been product management before. I can tell you that this is a really good step. It is so good that I decided to actually do Eliga right here, so that everyone can, while you're listening to the talk, you can keep watching that 24 step. This is actually a very good discipline. Now, your question would be, after this, so what does it do with Hong Kong? Now, in Hong Kong now, Hong Kong want to emphasize smart city and IoT and the fintech. So has been known from the government, from the science park, from the cyberport, from the Hong Kong Productivity Council. They really want to focus in these 2 areas. Therefore, in the MIT Nook in Hong Kong, these are the 2 areas that we have been incubating and working on that. And in the meantime, we are building up the 3rd area, which is on the health tech area. Let me come back to this chart to you a little bit later. So therefore, we really see that Hong Kong and also the Greater Bay Area need to have focus on this area. As a result, about 3 years ago, we designed a brand new program. The brand new program is called the MEMC. It's actually created, founded, discovered, and invented right here in this note on the chair that you're sitting. It's called the MIT Entrepreneurship and Maker Skill Integrator. Now, I have Tommy right there. He just went through that program. Are you happy with the program? Yeah. Yes. So Tommy actually is going to graduate from the Hong Kong Baptist University, right? And he is one of the few selected one we actually picked it. This workshop is a 2 weeks workshop. We put the student go through a tough 2 weeks program. We start on Saturday, finish on a Saturday. We only give them 1 day off, which is a Sunday. And we're really kind to give them 1 day off. However, of the 2 weeks, we have 29, Tommy and I have 29 meals together. Except the breakfast, lunch and dinner, 29 meals together. So, and with that, 17 students coming from MIT, 17 from Hong Kong, a 1/3 of them from graduate school, half boy, half girl, and also you see that we are coming from different disciplines, including design, engineering, computer, and business. With that, we actually focus on a few areas that want to focusing in terms of elderly care, healthcare, future of communication. We also involve with other companies to give us problems so that we can actually work on the real problems. So therefore, and you see that Tommy is very happy. And this is the winning team. This is the winning team. This team actually have 5 students. two of them come from MIT, three of them come from Hong Kong. So at the end, Shara is an MIT student. She has asthma, but that was the one that she used all the time, but she always forget. And she designed a brand new design with the team together and with the IoT components inside that. So she did it in 2 weeks from not knowing each other, and in 2 weeks, and get that all done. Now, and you may think that, hey, this is so good on the IoT smart city side. What about FinTech? So we have a FinTech coming up. It will be from August 22nd to 31st right here. It will be a 10-day program. It's a highly competitive program. We have a lot of people apply for it. Marina, and also Janice and I are doing all the interview of students, and we are picking roughly 15 students from MIT, 15 students from Hong Kong. So, and we are going to have a very interesting one. And I want to remind you, time to write down, August 31st, 8/3/8月最後一日, 2 p.m. right here, we are going to have the showcase. You got to come because each of the team will have 7 minutes to present and 3 minutes for Q&A. And they always give a top quality presentation. So therefore, this is how, some of the programs that we do. Also in here at MIT, we believe that 4H. What is a 4H? Heart. In order to start a company, you have to heart, you have to have head, you have to have hand, but you also have home. Where you are sitting right here is the home. So this is the MIT Innovation Nook. We have 5,000 square feet. We actually house some of the startup right here. So this is one of the startup right here. And we have another startup actually part-time here and part-time in US. We are also recruiting. If you're interested to come in, come talk to me, and also come talk to Angel, the one eating in the back. She haven't had dinner yet. Now, let me summarize by this chart. So essentially, we are doing the educate. We are also doing, sorry, the order was a bit wrong. So also connecting the industry. We have university level program. We also have high school level program, the teaching lab that I did not have time to talk about. If you're interested, ask Marina about that. And also we are having an MIT Soft 2019 right here. We have health hacking 2019. We have entrepreneurship in residence. We do training. We do corporate training. And all of those are what we do. Roughly, we have about 15 programs a year. Roughly, we have about 50 to 60 events a year. So therefore, we are actually quite busy and quite leveraging this space quite well. Let me finish this with, this is the team. Sorry that Janice is actually the new member. I didn't have time to update that. So this is the team. We have a very small team, 7 in Hong Kong and 1 in MIT. With that, I want you to remember one thing. So within the MIT Innovation Note, we are here to help you, help the company, help the alum, help everyone in Hong Kong to be much more innovative by leveraging some of the good stuff that MIT have, including entrepreneurship and the maker skill. With that, we are proud to be helping and working together with the IIC team around the world, because we believe that together we can actually change the world and make the world much more equal than where it used to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charleston. That was so informative about the node. Now, the speaker of tonight, Mr. Timothy Leung. Let's welcome him on stage. Timothy has over 20 years of experience in the information and internet field and worked in Alibaba, Apple, and PCCW. He's now the executive director of the Hong Kong AI Lab. And Hong Kong AI Lab is a not-for-profit initiative funded by Alibaba and SenseTime, focused on advancing frontiers of AI with cutting-edge technologies and expertise, and empowering startups to commercialize their new inventions. Welcome. Please have a seat. There you go. Yeah. Tech for all. Okay, great. So welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here and happy to meet all of you here.
Yeah, so tell us more about Hong Kong AI Lab and your role as executive director there.
Well, you have done an introduction about the background of the lab. It is a joint venture of Alibaba and SenseTime. One key thing that you talk about, we are not for profit entities. But what do we do? The goal of the lab is to promote the AI technology in Hong Kong. Because of the background of both Alibaba and SenseTime, both are strong in the AI technology. So that's why we want to put our strength to use to promote the technology in Hong Kong. And how do we do it? One thing that we do is collaborating with the Hong Kong Science Park. So we run our own accelerator program to help startup in our office. And what's unique about our program is that not only we provide the expertise of Alibaba and SenseTime to the startup, we also provide the hardware. For those of you who are familiar with the technology, know that you need a very strong computer to crunch all the data that you collect to train your program. So we have acquired our own GPU supercomputer. Could be used by our startup free of charge anytime they want. And with the expert advice from Alibaba and SenseTime, we make sure they have all the support in this area. And of course, to help the startup to run, we also provide free office space for them, so no rental for it. And we provide $100,000 seed funding by the Alibaba Entrepreneur Fund. We provide credits on cloud services. So we basically do everything we could to help startup to thrive and supporting the ecosystem in Hong Kong.
And it's a great space. I was there actually last week, so it's very open. Yeah, lots to see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So another thing that we do is not only to help out the startup, because that's not enough. It's good that they grow and learn and to be successful, but then they also need the business to survive. So we are also building the ecosystem in Hong Kong surrounding the AI technology. So we are reaching out to the stakeholder like the local enterprises, universities, VC, who are funding the startup, so that we can grow both the supply side and also the demand side surrounding the technology. We are lucky that maybe because of our branding and our networking, we have many enterprises coming to us asking for solutions, and we're having to match them up with the startups.
Yeah, do tell me more about the Accelerator program, because you mentioned that, and how do you get in? Like, what is the selection criteria?
Yeah, it's attractive for all the benefits we are offering. So how do we do it? For every 6 months, we start a new cohort, and for the cohort, it's 12 months long. So for that 12 months, you're able to enjoy the benefits we are talking about. And so when you apply, we'll do a short listing, and then of the shortlisted startup, we'll do an interview, and then you for those selected, you join. And what's the criteria? It's very simple. Because it is meant to promote the technology in Hong Kong, so we need to have some Hong Kong flavor in it. So you order from all started by Hong Kong people, you have a Hong Kong business registration, and that would be the fundamental request. One thing that's more critical to us is having the capability to really use the technology. We're giving out the free usage of the supercomputer. We want someone who can use it, like burn it there, like using every second of it, because I pay for it already. So hopefully someone is using it like wisely and able to learn from the expert advice we are giving. So that's the one unique requirement we are asking for, is someone who really knows the technology. And for those who are not familiar enough, no worry, every 6 months we have a new cohort. Learn more about it and then apply maybe the next round. It's only 6 months away from the next round. And you're not necessarily even be a business or commercial entity to apply for the program. We invite people who apply to apply to our program in a personal base. So apply as a person. You could be a student in the universities or a professor or someone working in a large enterprise right now and see this pain point, have the passion to go out and solve this with my knowledge of AI. That is also acceptable. So apply as a personal level. When we selected you, go out and register a company and join the program.
Yeah, can you give me an example? Because you mentioned you want someone to actually use your supercomputers. Like, what are some of the examples of startups at your place?
Yeah, it is the the program focusing on one single technology is AI, but the application is pretty diverse. So in our program right now, we have startup working on fintech, finance side, and also social media marketing, architectural design, inspection, all kind of things. So the application is quite actually diverse. And then in the coming cohort, we're going to see someone working on medical or healthcare industry. So all are welcome.
Yeah, and then I think this is the Hong Kong AI Lab. What's the flavor? Why? What is it like in AI in Hong Kong versus AI Greater Bay Area or elsewhere?
Hong Kong is quite unique in a sense. We are a very commercial economic city. So our focus is commercialization of the technology. And we do have the, it may sound like a cliche, but it's true that we're bridging to China and then to the West. We have this event here, like MIT, right? It's from the US. And then we also have the access to China. And that is the unique position we are providing. With the background of Alibaba, we also able to organize education tour to China to learn more about how SenseTime and Alibaba work. And we are reaching out to the States and Canada and other countries so that we are connected to the more advanced technology over there too. So this gives us a unique position to look at the opportunity there and also the commercialization capability of Hong Kong community.
Yeah, and what about citations? Like, is research done a lot in Hong Kong?
It's a good point that you bring up. Although Hong Kong may not sound like a very technological advanced city, but when we look at the AI technology, it might surprise many people that in the Scopus database, which is the largest general citation database in the world, that has a catalog for all the paper being published. And in the area of AI, on inferential power, Hong Kong ranked number 3 in the world. Hong Kong, number 3, AI? That's a surprise. But we do have some very strong researchers in Hong Kong, and that's where SenseTime started from, Chinese University of Hong Kong. And if you look at the top 10 university, I'm talking about the 2017 data. Top 10 university, Hong Kong has 2. So we do have certain research base there, but our problem is how can we retain all the talent being trained in Hong Kong? Many of them are being trained and then left. They leave to China or the rest of the world. We should retain them. We should have something that they will find, after being trained, I found Hong Kong has also offered me many opportunities. I'll stay. And that's what we are trying to do, and to promote Hong Kong in that way.
So you think AI, is it now or the future?
Definitely now. For those of us using the smartphone, we're using AI already. Those of us who are spying on Taobao or Amazon, we're using AI technology. AI is now. It's not something in the future. That's what we are using every day. And that will be more in our life in the future. So the future is actually more advanced with the technology, but we have to engage now. We're using it now. And it's not that difficult. From what we see in our startup, it's also interesting when we engage to the enterprises. They will come to us and say, hey, Tim, we know enterprise AI is very important. We need to use it. But what it is? And we have to explain, we educate them, and then they know, and then we match them with the startup. They are using AI technology right away, and that's what we feel that is very exciting, definitely.
Interesting. AI is now. So now we're talking about future of work, inclusive innovation. So technology like AI, what kind of jobs does that threaten?
It is a very popular topic. I've done 2 talks on future of works, especially on AI. Many people are thinking about AI is going to replace a lot of jobs in the world. First, I'd like to define is tasks and jobs are different. AI very quickly will take care of a lot of tasks, but job means a lot of tasks and also the human nature on top of it. what I think, and also from the video that I've seen earlier, is AI is going to solve a lot of tasks and actually make the job easier. Still, a lot of job has to be done by human. We have the human value, we have the human characters, like creativity, understanding of people are still very human. And we need that to finish a lot of jobs. So I think actually the AI can help us to take away the more mundane, repetitive tasks in our jobs and make our job more interesting and creative. But that also, I'm not saying just painting the rosy picture. There will be jobs that will be replaced by AI. Just like in the past, many technology replace certain jobs. But humans are very adaptive. We are still here. We're still working. People are still having jobs. So I think that's what we need to do, to be very adaptive, to know what's happening out there and able to take advantage of the technology.
Yeah, if people were able to adapt, but how do we prepare for these changes? How do we prepare people for these jobs?
Well, first, one thing is, by nature, human is very adaptive. My father's 85 years old. He's using the smartphone like nothing. He started using it when he was 82 years old. And when I was in Alibaba, I traveled around the world, and I've seen farmers, villagers using e-commerce. Like they learn it like from very beginning. So people by nature is very adaptive. But for us to even help them more, I think us or the government can do more, like training. We can train the adults. I think more importantly, we start from the earlier stage in the secondary school, elementary school level. Not teaching them the old things that we learned in the past. It's more about being open, being creative, and able to adapt. I think that is the kind of things that we need to provide to the society.
Yeah. So you mentioned governments can support by maybe changing the education policies. On the other hand, what about employers? Can they do something to help workers in their companies to adapt to this new environment?
Well, yes, definitely. There are programs out there, and actually organizations like the MIT NOP is working on this. The lab is actually talking to professors in the universities. We'd like to establish some program to learn the basic of AI. I think entrepreneurs or business owners should also enable their staff to learn. Actually, it's good for the business. It's like the business owner talking to me right now. They're asking me, "Hey Tim, what is AI?" They don't know, and their staff may not know. In order for their business to survive and grow, it's not only the business owner need to know. The staff need to know, and they should encourage the staff to learn more. And it's not that difficult, because I think one thing that we should promote to society is to overcome that fear about technology, especially something like AI. It's like, wow, it's mysterious, it's powerful.
But it is, because AI is so new. For us, maybe because we're involved with MIT or friends of MIT, we understand technology a little better, so we're not as fearful. But what about those who don't get exposed to technology much or that often? When you talk about GPUs, I was like, ooh, do people in this audience understand what a GPU is? Did you guys understand what a GPU is? Oh, okay, so 2 or 3, all right? So even here, 2 or 3 people, GPUs. So explain what GPU is, first of all, and then we can go on, right?
Well, when we were still in the university, we learned about CPU, central processing unit. Now we're talking about graphic processing unit. It's because it's more powerful, handling tons of data. That's what it's designed for. And since AI uses a lot of data, so we use GPU instead of CPU. But those are jargons that we throw out, because also because of this crowd, I use it. But you don't need to understand all the fundamental technology to use it. Just like my dad can use a smartphone and do take the photos and WhatsApp and everything and do payment. So it's their openness and able to willing to accept the technology, and then they found out, hey, there's nothing special about it. It's like we using Excel all the time and word processor all the time now. It's nothing. It will be the same, but people has to be open-minded to look into it and learn about it. And I think that's what needs to be done. Is we try to create program not to teach the technical part of AI. That, of course, someone will be doing. I'm more interested in educating the community about fundamentally what it is. It's not something that is that feasible. It's actually something very useful and could be very user-friendly. That's why I'm saying that actually we are using it every day and we're not even aware of it. When we use a mobile phone, there's AI in it.
So you would think that entrepreneurs would play a big role because these are the nimble organizations like startups, then they would be the ones that can help with promoting the inclusivity of like innovation.
Yes.
That can help.
Yes. One way of inclusive is helping the existing workforce to use AI. So we don't need to retrain and they won't be left out. Some of the startup in our lab, we see that they are using the technology to help the workforce, to leverage on the technology to work smarter. So that is actually giving them the capability to use the technology. They don't have to write Python programming. Not everyone need to do the coding, but they need to able to have the tool to use the technology. And that's what we try to do, is to giving that technology, that tools to everyone in the workforce and also supporting the enterprises.
Yeah. So I think we need to support the organizations then
We need
help
to
with this inclusive innovation, right?
Definitely,
That's
definitely.
why the MIT Inclusive Innovation Challenge, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm very happy to be here too, to share what I see in the community, and I think that's definitely very, very important, and that is actually quite doable. Looking at how other technology was being adopted in the past, like my past working experience in Apple and also in Alibaba. People can learn technology quite fast and able to use it quite fast. We just have to let them to open up and utilize it.
No, it's great that you're so positive about this because it is.
Well,
especially because you're in the field.
In
And
the
then
field,
you try to
but
demystify the AI. Oh, it's not so scary. And
well,
people can
in that case, let me
slowly-
share a little bit more about myself. When I graduated, I go to work, and the second job I have is in garment industry. It's a dying industry in Hong Kong at the time. And then from garment, well, I first started with finance, and I jumped to garment, I jumped to computer into internet. At the time, when I joined Alibaba, it was a e-commerce, then internet become e-commerce. E-commerce now become data industry, and then now AI. People can jump from one field to the other. People can learn and utilize the technology. I think that's what people can do, and if we able to help them along, definitely people can adapt. That's why I'm positive.
Sure, great. And I know you are a marathon runner. You have done a lot of marathons, over 20 marathons and ultra marathons. Does that teach you something? Is there a character that develops from running all these long marathons?
You've done some research on me. Okay, yeah, I do run marathons and I do so-called ultra marathon. And for those in Hong Kong, you know about trail walkers, and I do UTMB in the Europe. When you do 100-kilometer running in the wild, one thing you learn is to have the perseverance, to be persistent, and then have the courage to or the mindset to overcome obstacles. When you are in 10 kilometers and think, oh, there's still 90 more to go, that's hard. And you're in the 50 kilometers, you're dead tired, and then, oh, still 50 more to go. But you don't think that way if you do that. If you think that way, it's hard. That's why when we work, and also I think we need to take it one step at a time, And that perseverance, no matter we're working for a career or a startup or business try to advance, that is the kind of a mentality I think that I learned from doing marathons or ultra marathons, and I think that apply in our daily work.
Would that be an advice of yours to potential applicants here in their startups or for IIC?
Yeah, definitely. Like when I say taking one step at a time, you still have to have a good direction. You're taking one step at a time in the wrong direction, you never get where you want to go. So for those who have the dream of doing the IIC in MIT, wanted to be really at MIT in November, I think the timeline is, work towards that. But if you think about, I'm going to compete with everyone in the world, am I good enough? Don't need to worry about it. Do the best you can, and then you'll be there. And I think that's the mentality that would be helpful. And I think that's the correct mentality for us to advance in our career or helping the community to advance.
Yeah. What about an advice that you might give to someone who's considering joining a startup because they don't have a mature enough idea for a startup? What is your advice to these people? How do they choose a startup to join?
Jump in. Actually, I think it's the best thing. Now, actually, I've been talking to many people in the past, and people asking me, like, should I join a MBA program? I think right now, the best thing that's available to people is, now we have this community of startup, this spirit of startup. Actually, you learn so much joining a startup. And if you have a chance to join one, and pick one that you think is your liking, and then don't analyze too much. Go in and join and learn, and then the community, I think what's being so special in the US startup community is they celebrate failure. Failure is something to avoid. Failure is something that you enjoy because you're learning more, and then you try again, and then you be successful one day. I think for those who are willing to join a startup, pick one that you think you have the passion with that industry, with that pain point they try to solve, and then jump in and try to help out and be persevere, and then learn, and then you may be successful in this one, if not another one. That's the spirit in this time that we are living in.
Great. Mr. Timothy Leung, AI is now, perseverance, persistence, and just do it. Great, thank you. Q&A session, let's open it up. Do you have any questions for Timothy? Oh, please. Let's pass her the mic. Oh, thank you.
Actually, this is working?
Yes, I think.
Actually, this is very interesting timing because I was at a trade show these past few days, and there was like a huge presentation on the Hangzhou City Brain, and Hong Kong just signed a memorandum of understanding with Hong Kong Trade Development and Asia Pacific AI Business Alliance just today. So very supportive environment.
Any comments?
Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, well, that is one hot topic in applying AI is smart city. I think that could be a very positive thing for any city in the world. And I've been actually this morning talking with people involved in that project. And it is very encouraging that those initiatives can make our life so much easier. I can't wait to have those being implemented. It will be much helpful to us.
Oh, please, the gentleman in blue. Thank you, Charleston.
I just want to check, what is Alibaba's take? Do they get the rights to whatever is developed by the incubatee? Does Alibaba get the first rights to utilize that technology?
Very good question. Okay. The lab is technology or commercial interest neutral. The funding is provided by Alibaba and SenseTime. But when we take in the startups, we tell them, you are not necessarily using Alibaba or SenseTime technology. You own the IP that you developed. We are working with other entities like Microsoft. We are working with them to allow to introduce their technology. You can use the Alibaba Cloud credit that we provide you, but you prefer to use AWS, go ahead. You don't even need to use my GPU computer if you don't want to, but I don't know how you develop AI. but we are quite neutral into this. However, we do provide the $100,000 seed fund. So that is by Alibaba Entrepreneur Fund.
So they have stake in the startup.
So that would be a stake of that $100,000.
So
and
how do they value what percentage?
we are doing it in a convertible bond approach. So we don't ask for the valuation. Whatever valuation get in the future,
it's a debt.
It's the same value. So for those who are in the startup community, you know that $100,000 may be quite substantial for a startup who's needing money right now. But if they are successful, being diluted a few times, that actually might not be that large a stake in that startup.
Is convertible or not convertible?
Convertible.
So then Alibaba has the right to convert.
Has the right to convert. Has the right to convert.
I saw a couple of hand-ups earlier. No? Oh, okay.
Hi, Timothy. My name is Martin. I've got a question about the eligibility requirement for the Hong Kong AI Labs. If AI is not a core part of the technology of my company, but an ancillary part of my company, for example, robotics, AI might be used for computer vision or navigation, but it's not really the core of the business. Is my company still eligible for entering the Hong Kong AI Lab program?
Yes. We understand like not many businesses would use a single technology. Usually it's a combination of technology. It could be AI and big data AI and blockchain AI and robotics. So it is welcome as long as AI is part of the solution that you are building, that you're using that technology, we will consider that. Yeah.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Timothy. And as in a small token of appreciation, I would like to invite Susan to give you a little gift. It's a great book from the MIT Innovation Node that says Passion for a Better World.
One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more.
Yeah, this is a question for a friend who's running an NGO in Hong Kong. His business is involves building a 3D robotic arm for people who could not otherwise afford like an arm, a prosthetic arm, because it involves a very high cost. He wants to register for the program, but now he's facing a difficulty. His idea falls into maybe more than one bucket on the in terms of the category that he can apply for. So what should he do in that case?
Well, he can have a conversation with us and we can learn more about and try to advise. But at the end of the day, each application that we receive falls into one of the 4 buckets. If we've found that an organization is misslotted, we'll move them around. But with that idea in particular, it would be interesting to see how that robotics application is actually enabling people to more fully participate in work opportunities and see if there's a way to kind of quantify without this ability, how much would this person be earning versus with this augmented capability, how much are they able to earn and prosper? That's how we'd look at it.
Thank you.
just a quick one. I might have missed it because I'm sorry, I arrived a few minutes late, you know. So what stage of sort of ideas or enterprise you're looking for? Like, I mean, if somebody already has a team and partners, I mean, is that something you're interested, or are you more into very initial ideas that you're planning to bring to fruition?
Yes, we're looking for organizations that are beyond the idea phase and they're in the implementation phase. So they usually have a team around them, maybe a small team, but they have the traction in the market. They're able to demonstrate that they've got impact. And our judges look at a number of things when they're evaluating applications. One of them we call impact, another one that we call participation, which is how inclusive the solution is. We also look at the opportunity that the organization has to scale their idea, and then how visionary it is. So some of those dimensions kind of vary depending on the stage of the organization, but we're really looking for early in growth stage.
So hi. You definitely should enter.
Yeah,
you definitely should enter if you didn't hear it.
What was the day that you need to register?
May 9th.
May 9th.
May 9th.
May 9th. Thank you.
And
yes,
one thing
that's good.
We'll have two for you on your way out.
One thing to think about too, if you're just considering registering and applying, is that each application we receive is reviewed by usually 5 or 6 judges, and the feedback that each application receives is then passed back to the organization that submitted the application. So it's a free way to get access to feedback from real experts in the field. So it doesn't cost anything to apply, but in return, even if you're not a regional finalist or winner, you're still able to feed those ideas back into your organization as you continue to grow and scale. So just another reason to apply.
So hi, my name is Chau. So like basically like say if we are a startup and then like we are considering of applying for this. So I know about like your mentioned defined impact and attraction. So say for example like by end of the application deadline, so we have a little traction and a little impact, but you know for startups it can change a lot. So like for that 3 months during the reviews, like we can have a lot of traction. So like how actually like can this one be? I mean just an inquiry for this.
Yeah, so the judges will review what you've submitted as of the end of May when our application deadline is. But since we're looking at metrics like scalability, which is the potential to scale in the future, and vision, even if you're pretty early stage, you can still demonstrate that you're kind of worth the investment of the high marks from the judges. And then two, if you are invited to be a regional finalist at the event, which is one thing I should have mentioned before, but at our regional celebrations, each of our 12 organizations is invited to pitch their solution to the live audience, which includes a selection panel. And so you're able to report on the developments that have happened since you filed your application. So that's one thing that I think is a great feature of having that lag in between the application and the event, is in the life of a startup, 3 months is a really long time. And it's really exciting to see what happens in those 3 months.
Right. Okay, thank you.
So what was the date that you need to register? Yes.
He's got it.
Great.
You don't need a two, just like it is.
Is it restricted only Hong Kong citizens or anybody from the region can apply?
So anybody from anywhere in the world can apply. They fall into one of 5 regions. So, you know, Hong Kong would be Asia. We've got a list on our website of which country falls in which region. But one of the first questions, if not the first question you're asked as part of the registration process, is where is your organization having the greatest impact? So not where are you headquartered, but where are you having impact? And then you fall into one of the buckets. Any other questions? All right, well, hopefully we've convinced some of you to get involved with us in one way or another, whether it's through applying or working with us as a judge or helping us with outreach. Just a show of hands really quick before we close things out. How many?
Exactly what I want to do. How many of you are going to apply? Hey, I like that. Yay!
All right.
I was also just going to ask
you some... you need to apply too, huh?
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
I see a couple of hands.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes. Tommy actually is our alum, so he's going to apply.
So we can count on some of you, and we've got Flora here in person in Charleston to track you guys down. But one thing I was curious about, how many of you have heard of inclusive innovation before this program, before we started talking about it? Okay. So I think that's one thing that's a challenge for us, to be able to describe what we mean by inclusion and its economic inclusion, and then this idea that technology can be used for good, which is something Timothy talked about, but really shining a spotlight on it. So we hope that you help us in our mission and join the movement, as we say. So thank you for your time, and I'll pass it back to Flora.
So okay, to conclude, you might wonder why we call this the Asia Final Push Celebration. Anyone has any idea? No. Okay, well, I'll give you the answer. Well, that's because, as Susan mentioned, IIC launched on March 7th. And we had a launch party in San Francisco on March 13th. That was about a 1 month ago, okay? So today we're April 15th, and the closing, or the registration closing, is May 9th. So that's 3 weeks away. So we call this Final Push because this is the last official IIC event that will be done across the globe to push people to apply to IIC. So even though this is happening in Asia, I just want to remind everyone that around the world, people should apply. This is the Final Push. So we're in Asia, but it applies to all regions out there. So we are looking for companies, startups, any type, profit, nonprofit, any age. So please apply to IIC. So for those who are not physically here, this event is recorded and it will be posted on the IIC website. So those of you looking at the recorded event, apply by May 9. Okay? So, tech for opportunity.
Tech for change. Oh, strike that. May 9th.
May 9th. Tech for good.
And tech for prosperity.
Tech for all. So MIT Inclusive Innovation Challenge, register by May 9th, apply today. Thank you.
Thank you.